We're back with chapter 6 and some funny parts and some very really exciting parts. So let's get rid of the funny parts. Chocho, she's like a comedian, but an annoying comedian. A comedian who you don't really want to know anymore. A comedian that's not very funny, that starts off very lame but ends lamer, basically. So we start off with of course, Sarada saying Papa, and Decent Uchihas no, Descent Uchihas versus Uchiha. So this person is, of course, an Uchiha, and his name is Shin as well for some silly reason. So this guy attacks Sasuke, and what it looks like, he just grabs Sasuke's sword, and the amount of Sharingans that he has in his hand is very disgusting. Sasuke notices that he grabs it, he uses his eye technique, and it looks like he teleported Shin into the direction of Sasuke, and Sasuke used his running gun to either put himself behind both of them, both Shins basically, and use Fireball Jutsu, and it looks huge. It's nothing like he's ever used before, and of course the eyes on this guy's head, of course, captures it and uses his teleportation jutsu to pull the other Shin in front of him, you know, basically behind him, to take the amount of damage from that fireball, which I would say is a huge sacrifice. This guy doesn't care about using his subordinates at all. He's going to do everything to get Sasuke, and he does not care. So this guy, you know, gets damaged, you know, Shin falls to the floor, Sasuke with his glare, his running gun, and his Sharingan. And and Shin says, "The power of your eyes, Sasuke Uchiha, I see. Haha." I was like, ah, you know. And of course, Sarada's amazed. She's never seen her father in action before. And Naruto says, "We haven't seen anything yet." Because he's already seen what Sasuke can truly do. It seems like, you know, they're just playing. They're not firing at their full potential. And this guy's eye power is very strange. His name is Uchiha Shin. Shin Uchiha. And in other words, they're both father and son. The little onion head looking boy, and of course the Sharingan head puny bastard. So Sarada, Chocho, she's just sitting there eating crisps like her father. She doesn't care. She wished that she had a badass lady killer dad like Sarada's dad. But in all, she's just sitting there so relaxed, just watching the fight like she isn't afraid. It's like she knows that, hey, they're not bothering me. Let me just sit here and stuff my face while watching this, you know, full-on fight take on in pure view entertainment. It's just like, you know, she's basically a couch potato with probably no general skills other than the expansion jutsu of her limbs that her father once had. You know, well, they're still young, but understandably, it's very, you know, weird. So, Naruto notices, yeah, this guy uses his sons as shields. And Naruto's Kyuubi is activated. But what you don't see is that this guy uses his Sharingan again to make Sasuke's knife stab Naruto. So basically, this guy's Sharingan has manipulation over weaponry or maybe practically anything. And Naruto just stood there and he takes it. He says, blah blah, don't worry, I'll be fine. And you know, Sasuke basically says that Naruto says that his powers on the eye technique can use weapons freely, which Sasuke notices that, you know, he marked his katana. You know, he used some sort of ninjutsu to mark his katana. If you don't know, that's what Minato did to teleport himself. But in this instance, this guy marked something so that he can move it. So in other words, he didn't teleport Shin. He basically moved Shin in the path of the Fireball Jutsu to take the damage. And looking here, you know, Naruto spreads out, I think it's his Kyuubi, to protect everyone in the surroundings, because this guy just uses the whatever shuriken that he threw. They look very weird. They're not normal shuriken. To head straight to Sarada, and Sasuke's eyes are just. He basically loves his daughter. You can see in his reaction to see the shuriken go towards his daughter, and he's like, oh my god, no, and he steps in the way and he takes damage. He really loves Sarada, even though he hasn't seen her for years. And Shin said something weird. Peace means an end for the evolution for humans. So doesn't he consider himself a human as well? Does he really hate humanity for what they did to him, or is it just everything to do with Itachi at this point? Species without evolution are eventually destroyed. No one has ever said. I haven't seen anyone said that before in the Akatsuki, so I don't know why he wants to revive them for some silly reason. Um, and then boom! Why are you touching my daughter? My darling daughter, and my husband, you bastards! In comes Sakura, and I had to flip the page because the punch she gave this guy ruptured so many organs. Holy shit! And she says, "Mom," so she's finally realizing, hey, that woman right there, that the big diamond on her damn forehead that punched the guy to save both of our asses, is actually my mother. And Sasuke, he's not really surprised to see her at all. I thought he would have been surprised to see his wife after all these years. It's just very strange. We're about to find out, what are you doing here? He's like, what the fuck? It's like he doesn't care. Sasuke uses Kyuubi mode to draw both shins towards him, and he pulls out the sword, and Kurama basically saying, stop exaggerating, basically. Your skills are growing rusty and pathetic. So basically, Naruto hasn't fought in years. In years. So many years, they have not fought at all. And he can heal himself. And Ninetales is just sitting there. Kurama's just sitting there saying, stop exaggerating. You've taken worse than this before. It doesn't even hurt you. Stop showing off. And it's actually true. But apparently he has become sluggish. So yeah, we move on, and Sakura basically says, listen, Sarada, I meant to tell you properly, and we still haven't gotten anything about it at all. Sasuke just says, it's my fault no matter how you think about it. But for me. And it ended like that. But for me. I'm taking these two with me, and then boom, the space-time ninjutsu just activates. This guy is basically going back into his own area, and they end up in what we would say a medical hospital with a lot of different shins surrounding Sakura, and she doesn't look afraid of of all of them. It's just that the other shin that that he left to die apparently just threw a shuriken at him. It's actually weird the way it's scripted out. Yeah, the other shin threw a shuriken at him and called him a menace. I don't know who they were calling a menace, either his father or someone else apparently. But yeah, we flip the page, this person has died, blah blah. Out comes Chocho again with her. Yeah, that was awkward situation, blah blah blah. She doesn't look really that enthusiastic. She doesn't look very bothered of what's going on. I think she's just here on her own free will, blah blah. But yeah, Kurama, I think Naruto's a bit down after what happened when Sakura got inhaled by the space-time ninjutsu. He's like, as Kurama said, I'm pathetic, which is true. You were exaggerating. The pain, it wasn't that painful. If he had used Sage Mode, I doubt that sword would have pierced him. But it is Sasuke's sword, of course. And the fact that this guy can use space-time ninjutsu pretty well, I just wonder where the hell did he get those Sharingas from. So we move on to the last panel, and this guy's son is laying next to him, and he wants Sakura to basically transplant all the organs that she ruptured in this guy's chest to go into his body, basically. And transplant surgery, he wants all the organs from his child, and he doesn't really care. So Sakura said, why are you trying to kill my husband and child and my dear friend too? And he said, well then, why do you care what happens to my brat? And she's like, are you serious? Dangerous people in dangerous hideouts. So this is getting very, very strange, very, a lot of questions need answering still on what is this guy's true motive apart from bringing the Akatsuki. Will we even find out at the end on what, who the mother is? We know who the mother really is, but we still want to find out on why there's no birth records, how they got married, all that sort of questions need answering. Even at the end of Naruto the Lost, Sasuke wasn't in the Naruto family pictures. It's strange. It's like the entire, friendship and bonds and everything is still a lot secretive than it was back in the original series and this first 700 chapters. But in all, guys, amazing chapter for chapter 6. It was amazing. I cannot wait for number 7. It's gonna be amazing. It was 19 pages long actually. So yeah, all these chapters are pretty short because they're full of either less talking and bigger frames for the drawing of the characters, and less information on what is really going on in this short mini series. But anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the review. Like, subscribe, I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys on the next chapter.